Hey, Kurt O'Keefe, Michigan consumer attorney. I want to talk about one of my favorite statutes today, RESPA, R-E-S-P-A. That's an acronym for Real Estate Settlement and Procedures Act, which was enacted back in the 70s to help homeowners with mortgage companies. Has a lot of requirements about disclosures when you're entering into a mortgage, the so-called GFE, or Good Faith Estimate Form, or HUD-1 form. Has some provisions about escrow accounts and how much the mortgage company can keep against taxes and insurance, how long they can hold the money, what they have to do with the money. But I want to discuss today the accounting provisions. Under this law, you, the mortgagor or person who owes on the mortgage, have the right to send what's called a qualified written request. And my website has a link to the sample letter that the HUD Department, Housing and Urban Development, has. If you want to order the Form 1 that I use from my friend in North Carolina, Attorney Max Gardner, you can follow through on the MichiganMortgageAttorney.com website and the links that are there. That letter, when you send it, the mortgage company has 20 days to acknowledge they received it. We got your letter, we're working on it. They have 60 business days, which is 3 months, to actually come up with the accounting. I have yet to see them produce an accounting that makes sense. Some of the things you may find on there are the invention in the last few years of the mortgage companies, something called a suspense account, where if your payment is $1,000 a month and you send in $990, they don't apply that to your account. They say, well, we'll put that in the suspense account and rack up your late fee and charge interest for not paying any of the payment that month. And then next month you send them $990 again because you think that's the right amount. And then they say, well, that's enough for one payment. We put that in the suspense account. We'll take one out. Now we have $980 there, but we'll rack up another late fee. Things like that mortgage servicers do because it makes them money. So it's good to have, of course, accurate information as to do they have records of all the payments you sent in, and then what did they do with your money. Now, I've had experience with this statute. I had a client in Michigan who actually received back from his mortgage company a check from someone in St. Louis. We had to sue in that case to get it straightened out. They were foreclosing on his house. Turns out they never notified him that the escrow changed. They did it 3 times in a year. They couldn't justify that either. For some reason, they were sending the notices of the payment changes to his ex-wife. Now, he was divorced, then he had bought this house and got this mortgage, so the ex-wife never had anything to do with it. We don't know how they even got that information. I had another case in which they had put on, the mortgage company put 12 entries from someone else's mortgage in my client's records. Now, I would think when you hit the delete key on the computer that the record would go away and that would be the way to clean it up. But what they had done is they'd put 12 more entries in, canceling out the 12 wrong entries. And they were interspersed throughout this client's records, so they weren't even on the same page. Made it very difficult to read. And there were other issues with that too. One of my favorite things about this RESPA statute, it has a fee shifting provision, which means you sue that mortgage company, you prove they violated the RESPA law, some of the provision, the provision, that mortgage company has to pay your attorney fees. So it's a great tool because it's just difficult. Sometimes these are just hundreds of dollars or a few thousand off. They're low amounts of money. It would be impossible to get these straightened out if you had to pay out of your own pocket for an attorney to do it. And the mortgage companies are aware of that. So the RESPA statute is a great tool for consumers. I always recommend that you also send a written request for payoff, which is the total amount it would take to zero out that mortgage, because that number frequently will not match what you get when you ask for the RESPA accounting. That's all for now. Kurt O'Keefe, Michigan Consumer Attorney.